The truth of social media is that it is going to become a war zone for attention.
Hello there! In this After Effects tutorial, we will learn how to animate a 3D reel step-by-step in the Houston Kold style. By the way, if you like documentary-style editing, my course is now available. But it's not just a course in which I show you how to animate a sequence in After Effects and that's it, but I show you the entire procedure that I followed to create this animation. From the initial idea to the final render, going through each and every phase of the creative process. I'll leave the link in the description in case you want to take a look. We start with the tutorial. As always, first we are going to import the files. We are going to import all of them except this one from Photoshop, and here we are going to create some folders to have this a little more organized. We are going to create another one for the audio, which we have here. Now, we are going to import this Photoshop file as a composition and keep the size of the layers. And here we choose an editable layer style. And we are going to create another folder that is going to be for the compositions. And we put this one in there. And since we are at it, we are going to start with it. We have to convert these 3 layers to 3D. If the cube icon appears, we unfold it with F4, and we are going to use 2 views. And we are going to position these 2 layers on the Z-axis. We are going to send this one in the background to the back. I am going to deactivate the background here to see it better. Here we are going to set it to 2000 pixels, and for the mountains, we are going to set it to 1000. And now with the S key, we display the scale and scale it a little. It's the same around there. Anyway, when we animate the camera, we will probably have to go to this composition or another one to make some adjustments. For now, we leave it like this. And here in this composition, we are going to bring this footage called fire. We also convert it to 3D, and we are going to move it on the Y-axis downwards. Over there, we scale it a little, and we are going to put this one in add mode. We are also going to bring the particles. We are going to put these below the soldier layer. We put them in add mode, and we are also going to convert it to 3D. And now we are going to move it to the bottom. We leave it more or less around there. We scale the layer, and we are going to put a couple of effects on it. The first one, which is called hue and saturation. Here we are going to activate the color box, and we set the maximum saturation to 100, and here we can change the color we want. I'm going to leave it at 10 so that it stays between red and orange. We're going to add another effect called glow. And here we're going to increase the radius. We'll leave it there. We're not going to do anything else to it. Now we're going to duplicate this layer with Control D, and we're going to put the copy in front of the soldier, which look where it is. It's here in the center with the fire layer. And these are the particles. We're going to make them smaller. It's very big. And now, so that the 2 layers don't go at the same time, we're going to offset this copy that we've made a little bit in the timeline, around there. It looks perfect there. Now we're going to write some text. I am going to put Warzone the same as in the example. Everyone can write whatever they want. We'll center the anchor point, and we'll also align it to the work table. We're going to make it a little bigger, And we also have to convert this text to 3D and move it to the front. We'll put negative 500 pixels here on the Z-axis, for example. And we'll also put it in add mode. With Control D, we'll duplicate it, and we'll take this copy behind the soldier there. And we'll scale it quite a bit. I think that might work there. We'll raise it a little bit up there. And with the R key, we'll put a rotation of -5 degrees here. There it is. Now, this text with the eyedropper, well, we're going to put a color similar to that of the fire. Or, well, we're going to put a slightly more intense orange. And I think that in this composition, we've got everything ready. Look, if we activate a custom view, there we have all the layers positioned on the Z-axis. So that later, when we animate the camera, we'll see that parallax effect, which looks really cool. Okay, this custom view, here we can reset it. And now we're going to go to the project panel. We're going to go to the compositions folder, and we're going to create a new one, which is going to be called text, 1000 by 1000 pixels, 30 frames, and this duration is enough. And here we're going to write, well, the social networks. With Control D, we duplicate them. And here we're going to write networks. One more copy, Control D. And here, social. Now for these three texts, we're going to center the anchor point, and we're also going to align it to the work table. Note that if you press these buttons and the text doesn't move, it's because you have to choose composition here. Now, we leave them all centered there, well centered. And now with the rectangle tool, and without having any layer selected, we're going to create a shape like this. We center the anchor point, and we also align it to the work table over there. And we're going to put this one under the networks text. Okay, on the shape layer, we put a yellow color like that. And the text is black, so it stands out well. And now with the adjustment box activated, we select the text. And we have to center it on the shape layer. And it is done automatically. Here we can also make some adjustments to this rectangle. For example, we are going to round the vertices, which seems to look better. Now with Control D, we duplicate it, and it will be useful for this one down here. What happens is that we have to scale it to width, but not with the scale, because otherwise the vertices will deform. We have to do it from here inside. Here in Contents, Rectangle, and here the rectangle path. We deactivate the chain, and now we can put the size we want here. We are going to leave it there. And the color, that red one. And this text, we are going to paint it white. And if it is not centered with the box, moving it a little, it will stay stuck there. We are going to add an effect to this text called typewriter. Using the U key, we deploy the keyframes, and so that the animation doesn't take so long, we are going to move this keyframe here to the first second, and we are going to make some adjustments here. Here, where it says advanced, we are going to set the smoothness to 100. It's easy now. Now with a right click, we are going to create a null object. We are going to link all the layers to it, and we are going to make it bigger around there. And activating the proportionality grid, we can also leave it well centered. Which I think could be useful there. Okay, let's continue. We come back to the compositions folder, and we are going to create the main one. And this is going to be 1080 by 1920 vertical format, which are the dimensions of a reel at 30 frames, and 10 seconds is enough. And here in this composition, we are going to bring the text. And in the Assets folder, we are also going to bring this background. We put it there below. And the textures of the glass with scratches, we are going to put it there above. And with the R key, we are going to rotate it 90 degrees. The background is also valid, R key. And so you can see it, I am going to zoom in. Here, I'm going to put it at 90 degrees. And it is also going to make it a little bit smaller because it is huge. And this layer of scratches, we are going to put it in screen mode. And here in the background, we are going to put an effect, which is called tint. And we are going to darken the white color quite a bit, more or less around there. Okay, well, now we are going to convert these layers to 3D, and with the help of two views, we are going to position them on the Z-axis. We are going to bring this one with the scratches to the front. We are going to put a value of -540 here, and this one in the background. We are going to send it to the back. With the P key, we display the position, and here we are going to put 540. Now, with a right click, we are going to create a camera, 35 millimeters and with 2 nodes, and without moving from here, right click. And we create a null object. We also convert it to 3D, and we link the camera to it. And now with the P key, we display the position. And we are going to place ourselves here at second 120. We mark a keyframe, and right at the beginning, we are going to animate the Y-axis. Here we are going to put a value of 2,300. We smooth them with F9. And here in the graph editor, if it appears like this, you have to change to Edit Speed Graph. We put this handler there on the far left, and this one too, so that it starts very fast and ends very slowly. Okay, there it is. We are going to make some adjustments to these layers here. For example, this one of the texture, notice that it does not reach here to the bottom, so we move it there. And here, well, anyway, it is very big. We are going to scale it, and we are going to position it here. Now, well, a little bigger. Okay, there. And the background layer looks good. We do not need to do anything to it. Now here at this point, with right-click, we are going to create another null object. We convert it to 3D, and in null 2, we link it to the new one. With the P key, we display the position, and with capital R, we also display the rotation. And here in frame 15, here, we mark a keyframe, and another in Z rotation, and with the U key, we are left with only these keyframes. Now in the second two, we're going to put a rotation of -5 degrees here, around there, and we're also going to zoom in a bit. Here we're going to put 350. We're going to go into the text composition for a moment, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see. Around there, come on, around there, okay? We select them all, we smooth them, and we give the handles an influence of between 60 and 65. Around there. And there it is, okay? And we've already done the first animation. Now we get to this point. With right-click, we are going to create another null object. We are going to convert it to 3D as well, and we link it to the new one. And we are going to put ourselves in the 115 frame, key P. And with capital R, we also display the rotation. And we mark one here and another in Z. And we are going to go now to the second number 3. And here, we are going to set the rotation to 10. And this value on the x-axis, we are going to set it to 1300. We are going to lower it a little bit. Here we set it to 780. I set these values because after having done some tests, they are the ones that have worked best for me. And here we are going to zoom in quite a bit. We are going to set it to 840. Now we select them all, and we smooth them, and again, we are going to give it an influence between 60 and 65. And we are going to see how it looks. Okay, perfect. Now, right here at this point, we can already start putting together the second scene. For now, we are going to paint these 3 layers the same color. We put S on them, for example. Here, we are going to deploy the keyframes. And here in the Assets folder, we are going to bring the one called Character, and we are going to change its color. We put a yellow one, we are going to put it here. We make it a little bigger. Okay, over there. Anyway, I do it when the camera is animated. If we have to make any adjustments, we do it, and that's it. We are also going to bring the Instagram logo. We are going to make it bigger. We rotate it a little. Over there. And we're going to put it in this part down here. With Control D, we duplicate it, and we are going to put this one up here, a little smaller, over there. And we are going to put it behind the character, and these 3 layers have to be the same color. Now the part up here, we are going to write, they are going to be converted. We double-click on this line, and we make it bigger. Over there. Okay, it's perfect. The font I'm using is Babus Neue. It's bold variant. Okay, this text, we'll center it on the anchor point, and we'll also center it horizontally. And using the safety margins, we'll position it here. We'll scale it a little without going outside the margins, over there, and it's perfect there. And we'll also put it with these elements, since they belong to the same scene and the same color. We'll put it under the character. Okay, and now what we're going to do is create another null object, and we'll put it over here. We're also going to paint it yellow, and we're going to link these 4 layers to it. Now, with all of them selected, with the yellow ones, we're going to convert it to 3D. And look, it's disappeared from the work table. What we have to do is the following. In the null with right-click, we come to Transform and Center in View, and with Control Home, you can also center it in View. Control Home, and there we have them. They are not seen because the background is activated. Okay, now in this null with the R key, we have to compensate the 5 degrees of difference that there was between this animation here and the second null. And there it is perfect. Okay, great. Come on, let's continue. This background, more or less around this part here, around here, with the T key, we display the opacity, and we mark a keyframe. And a little further ahead, we set the opacity to 0. We soften it. Let's see. And this helps us to create the transition. A little bit before. Okay, that's fine. Now to create the parallax effect, also in the second scene, in this one here, we have to do the following. We are going to send this logo to the background. We put 500 here. And we are also going to scale it a little bit, around there. And the story is to leave it more or less where it was, around there, and it is the same key P. And we are going to bring this one to the front. We put a value of -500. We scale it around there. And we put it more or less where it was, okay? And we are going to put an effect on it, which is called Fastbox Blur. And here we are going to put a value of 10. With Control-C, we copy it, and we paste it to this one. Control-V, perfect. We are going to do a preview to see how it looks. There it is. These 3 layers here, with Control-Shift and Key-D, we can cut and delete them. And now with a right-click, we are going to create a solid. This will serve as a background. We make it the size of the composition and the color, well, a very dark gray, almost completely black maybe. And we're not going to make this one 3D or anything. We'll leave it like that as is. And we're going to put a texture that we have here in the resources, which is this one called halftone. We're not going to make it 3D either. The only thing we're going to do is rotate it 90 degrees. And this texture that we see here, we're going to put it in screen mode. Okay, let's see how it looks. Perfect. Come on, we're doing well. Now, this text that we have here, we are going to put an effect on it with this free script from Animation Composer. I'm going to leave the link below in case you want to download it. We are going to write text, and you can try it out to see which effect you like. I'm going to go directly to the one I'm going to put, which is here in position words. And it's this one that says button. We press in, and we have the effect applied there. Look, it's there, but I'm going to leave this layer here for now. Then, when we have the animated camera, we'll put each element in its due time. For now, we leave it there. Here in the second three, all of these, with control and the capital letter, plus the D key, we're going to cut them and we're going to delete them. And now with right-click, we're going to create another null object, which we're also going to convert to 3D. With right-click, we're going to transform, and we're going to center it in view. There we have it. Now this one, we link it to the new one. With the P key, we display the position, and we mark a keyframe. And before continuing to animate it, we are going to come here to the Compositions folder, and we are going to bring the soldiers. We are going to put it here. We are also going to change its color, one that stands out from the others. Okay. And we are going to put this composition right where these end in the second three. We convert it to 3D. And the same thing happens to us again. But with a right click, we come to transform, and we center it in view. There it is. With the R key, we have to compensate the Z rotation by 5 degrees. And so that this composition does not look so flat, we have to activate the rasterize icon continuously. Okay, perfect. Now we can animate this null. We come to the second 4, and here we are going to zoom in a little. We're going to set a value of 1570. We select the 2 keyframes, F9, and we're going to shape the curve so that it starts very fast, and little by little it loses speed. Let's see. Okay, but here we have to make some adjustments. As you can see, that the Warzone text is not even visible. And then, between these layers here, and this third scene, we have to put a transition, which is going to look really cool. Well, for now, we're going to do one thing. We're going to put ourselves in this keyframe here. We're going to lock this composition, and with a right click, we're going to put a new viewer. And now here we can zoom in. And in this new viewer, we're going to choose the soldier's composition. In this Warzone text, the white one, we're going to scale it. And the changes we make here will be seen in real time in the main composition. A little smaller, a little more. Well, that might be fine. Another thing we're going to do is, here on the background layer, we're going to put the CC repeat effect on it. And we're going to expand the pixels upwards, here in App. And here we change from repeat to unfold. And down here, I don't know if we should put it down too. Probably. Well, down here it seems to look good. Well, now we can close this composition and unlock it, and let's see how this looks. Okay. It looks good, but we're going to scale it a little with the S key, expand the scale, and set a value of 85 here. And well, here you can see a few empty pixels. So what we're going to do is lower the fire layer a little bit. Over there, let's see now. Perfect. That's it. and the text at the end has become small. Well, we make it a little bigger and nothing happens. This one here, the white one. Let's see, over there. A little less. A little bit less. It's perfect there. Okay, let's continue. Right-click again, and we're going to create another null object, which we're also going to convert to 3D. But when we convert it to 3D, it disappears. We have to center it again in the composition. Right-click, transform, and center in view. There we have it. Now we're going to link this null to the new one. And we're going to put ourselves here at 3:15 seconds. We deploy the position and mark a keyframe. And now we move to 4:10. And here we're going to zoom in, but towards the bottom. We're going to put a value of 1200. We move forward a little bit more to 5:05 seconds around there. And here we're going to put 200. And here at second 7, which is where the animation is going to end, here we're going to put it at 0. Now with F9, we smooth out all these keyframes, and we're going to give them this shape in the graph editor. Between 60-65 to this one the same. Around there. And in this one, we're going to double-click, and we're going to activate the continuous box. And now we're going to give it this shape. Around there, and this one too, 60, 62. And so that the camera doesn't stop when it reaches this point, we double-click on this node, activate the continuous box, and we set an entry and exit speed of 300. Let's see how it looks now. Great. And here in this movement is where the fourth scene comes in. We're going to go over here, and we come to the Assets folder, and we're going to bring this one called Written. We're going to put it up here. We'll change the orange color. And well, just like we did before, we have to convert it to 3D. And to center the view here, with Control and the Home key, there we have it. We're going to rotate it 5 degrees there. And with the P key, we display the position. And here, we're going to put a value of 910. Okay, let's see. Perfect. We make it a little bigger. Over there. Let's see how this looks. Well, in this part here, more or less over here, with the T key, we display the opacity. But first, we're going to put it over this part. We display the opacity, and we set it to 0. We move forward a little bit. And when the soldier, this whole composition, is moving back over there, we put it back to 100. And we soften these two keyframes with F9. Let's see. Here at this point, notice that you can still see the text of the soldier's composition. Well, we're going to put ourselves here. And in this composition, in this text, we mark a keyframe in the opacity. And at this point here, we set the opacity to 0. and with F9 we soften it. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to write a text. Here we're going to put Warzone. And we're going to center the anchor point. And we're also going to center it to the work table. And for this text, we're going to change the font. I'm going to put this one called Montserrat Bolt. Here we have it. I'm going to make it a little smaller. And I'm going to put this one in its light variant. Okay. And we're going to put this text here on top of this layer, and we're going to paint it the same color, orange, since it belongs to the last scene. We convert it to 3D, and again, what we have to do is right, click, transform, and center in view. There we have it again. We rotate it 5 degrees. And since it's not visible, we have to change the color. We're going to put it black over there. And this position of this layer, with Control-C, we copy it. And we're going to paste it here to the text. Control-V, and we paste the position in Z. There we have it. We scale it a little bit because it's too big. Let's see, a little bit smaller. Okay, that might work. We're also going to put the typewriting effect on this text. With the U key, we deploy the keyframes. And we're going to put it more or less over here. There, and this one, we bring it to the left so that the animation doesn't take so long. And we're going to make some adjustments here. Here in Animator in Advanced, we're going to set it to reveal word by word instead of letter by letter. And here we're going to set the opacity to 100. Great. We could even make it a little smaller. This is just a matter of trying until you find a result that you like. Okay, we're going to leave it there. We select these 2 keyframes. We go into the graphic editor, and right here, at the highest point of the animation, over there, we're going to go to the text. With the Control key and the D key, we cut there. And here, we're going to write for attention, just like in the example. And this one here, we're going to put it in the bold variant, okay? And with the P key, we expand the position, and here instead of 910, we're going to bring it a little bit more to the front. We are going to put it at 710. And we are also going to make it bigger. Around there, let's see. Okay, it's great there. We're going to change the color too. Here where it says 4, we put it in red. And here Warzone. This part here also in red. Let's see how it looks there. Perfect. In this last scene, we're also going to bring this layer of glass with scratches, and we're going to put it on top here. We'll also paint it the same color, orange. And we'll put it in screen mode. Well, before putting it in screen mode, we're going to do one thing. We go here to Effect, here in Channel, we're going to put Invert. And now this composition, instead of going in screen mode, we're going to put it in Multiply. Perfect. We also convert it to 3D, and with right-click, we go to Transform, Center in View. We rotate it 5 degrees. Well, not 5. We're going to put it vertical. We're going to put it at 95. And this texture with the P key, we unfold the position, and we're going to bring it to the front. There we can see it. We're going to set the value here to 350. And that way we also create this parallax effect, which looks pretty cool. Okay, great. Another thing we're going to do is with the ellipse tool. We're going to create an oval here like this. Here, we're going to remove the fill, and we're going to put a red stroke and the thickness at 15. We are going to put this layer here as well, and we are going to paint it orange. And now, this path. We center the anchor point, and we are going to convert it to 3D. With right-click, we come to Transform, Center in View, and it is placed where it was. And now, we are going to look at the position in Z of this text that says For Attention, which is 710. With Control-C, we copy it. And here in the path layer, Control-B, and we paste the position in the axis Z. Now, we are going to make it a little bigger, over there and over there. And now we are going to add the Trim Paths effect. We move this value a little bit over there, and here the displacement. I want it to start from this point or from here. So that when it passes through the camera, this part of the path is not visible. So here the displacement I am going to set to 50, okay? And I can now set this value to 0. We mark a keyframe, and a little further on we set it to 100. And now, this is just testing until we like how the animation looks. Let's see. The path has to start a little earlier. I think that here, there is perfect. If we want with F9, we smooth it. And if we want to curl the curl, we come here to the stroke. And we put the butt cap in round cap. so that the ends are round. And we can also put the multiply mode. I think that around there, it's great. Anyway, if there is any step that you don't understand, write me in the comments and we'll fix it, because I have the feeling that I'm confusing you. Well, let's do a preview of everything. Let's see how it looks. Let's see. One thing that I'm seeing here. This texture has to start with this part, with its color, and the shape is the same. Let's see now. Let's see why it looks here. Because we're going to cut the texture here. It's great there. Here we have to adjust this text as well. We'll go to the second 3 here. And this layer, well, we'll move it to the right. Around there, so that the text animation starts a little bit earlier, okay? This means trying until you find a result and a timing that you like. I think it looks great there. So what happened here with the shape layer? Oh, okay, yes, because we moved it to the right. No problem. U-key, we deploy the keyframes, and we put them where they were. Let's see if it was around there. We're going to make this one linear anyway. Okay, perfect. Now with Control A, we select all the layers. And we'll activate the motion blur F4. If it doesn't appear, we activate the motion blur for all of them. Well, not for this one in the background, and not for the halftone texture either. Yes, for this one. And we are going to put some more effects here. For example, to the text that we have here. We are going to put a glow or a shimmer on this composition. And here the radius, well, we increase it a little. We also lower the intensity a little. Over there with Control C, we copy it. And we are going to paste it to this text here. Control V, and we paste it. And here the composition of the soldier, Control V, and we paste the glow. And I think that here the main composition there, are no more things left to do. Here we are also going to activate the motion blur to all the layers. And now we come to the project panel. We are going to select the main composition, and we are going to create a new one. And this one is going to be called Main Effects. And the first thing we are going to do is create an adjustment layer. And we are going to put an effect on it that is called Optical Compensation. And here, well, we are going to increase this value a little, not much, and we activate the invert distortion box. Let's see how it looks there. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Come on, let's move on. Let's add another effect, create another adjustment layer, and let's put the one called Posterize time. And here from 24 frames, we're going to change it to 15. Let's see how it looks. Wow, this looks great, huh? We're going to come to the main composition. And here, in the last null, in this one here, we expand the position. And with the Alt key pressed, we click on the clock, and we're going to write wiggle. And inside, we're going to write 3.10 to give it a shake effect to the camera. And to make it look much more organic, let's do a preview. Well, this looks spectacular. We're going to put ourselves here in the second 3. And here in the resources folder, we're going to put this transition. We'll put it under the adjustment layers. We'll put it there. With the F4 key, we'll display the blending modes, and we're going to put this one in add mode, and we're going to put it more or less around this part. Just when it's the change from one scene to another. And it also has a sound that looks really cool. Which, by the way, we're going to bring the audio too. We'll put it here. And before listening to the audio, we're going to create a gray solid between black and white. We'll put it at 50% here, and it'll stay right in the middle, and this is going to be the grain. With right-click, we're going to pre-compose this solid, and we're going to leave it with that name, and we'll leave all the attributes in the new composition. We click OK, and we're going to put the effect called Add Grain. And here we're going to change to Final Output, and here you can choose any of these presets. I'm going to put this one. The grain size will be lowered a little, 0.5, around the monochrome color, and the animation will be set to 0 so that the noise is static. And we're going to put this composition in overlay mode. And look at what a cool effect the grain generates. Okay, let's see what else we have left to do. I think that's all there is to it. Well, we can duplicate this layer 2 more times. We turn off the eye to keep only the sound. And with the L key twice, we display the audio waves. And we're going to put this sound when the word Warzone appears. Over here, let's see how it goes over there. Okay, and this one when the other one appears. Well, that's fine. Here in the main audio, we deploy the waves with the L key twice. And we're going to adjust a little bit here. We cut it here to split layer, and here again with the L twice. Here where you can't hear anything, we're going to cut it there.
The truth of social media is that it is going to become a war zone for attention.
And well, this looks spectacular. But before finishing the animation, we're going to come here to the main composition. And we're going to check that the camera options, the depth of field, are deactivated, which sometimes comes activated by default. And there are some layers that look blurry, and we don't know why. And well, after a while, we already have our animation finished, and with a very professional result. I know it's been a very long tutorial, but the sequence we've done requires it. Anyway, if you got stuck at any step or there's something you don't understand, write to me in the comments and we'll fix it. And if you like the tutorial, leave me a good like so I know. See you in the next video.